Good afternoon and welcome to the January 13th, 2025 meeting of the Orlando City Council. We're going to begin with the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance, and today Commissioner Burns will lead us.
All right, thank you, Mayor. If you're so inclined, please join me in a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, as we gather here today, we come with grateful hearts, thanking you for the privilege and honor of serving the residents of our beloved Orlando. We recognize the trust placed in us by our community, and we are deeply thankful for the opportunity to lead with purpose and integrity. Lord, we ask you for your wisdom to guide our decisions, that we may lead with clarity and insight. Grant us patience as we navigate the complexities of our city's needs, and help us to listen to the voices of those we serve. In this new year, Lord, inspire us with bold ideas and innovative approaches to the challenges of our great city faces. May we be open to new possibilities, working collaboratively to create solutions that uplift and empower all residents of Orlando. We seek your guidance in our discussions and decisions, that each action we take reflects your love and care for our community. May we be instruments of positive change, fostering unity and progress as we strive to build a brighter future for everyone. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That's it.
Thank you, Commissioner Burns. Okay, Madam Clerk, would you call the roll and make a determination of a quorum, please?
Commissioner Gray?
Here.
Commissioner Ortiz?
Here.
Commissioner Stewart?
Here.
Commissioner Sheehan? Here. Interim Commissioner Rose? Here. Commissioner Burns?
Here.
Mayor Dyer?
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum with all members present.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. First order of business is consideration of minutes from the agenda review and City Council meeting of December 9th, 2024. Motion by Commissioner Stewart, second by Commissioner Sheehan. All in favor indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, and so the motion carries. Okay, we're on awards presentations and recognitions, and I would like to remind you that last Thursday marked 8 years since our community lost a true hero, and that was OPD Lieutenant Deborah Clayton. Each day she worked tirelessly to make Orlando a great place to live, and she is certainly missed, and we want to make sure that every year we think about her during this time. Thursday also happened to be National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day, and our community recognizes that our OPD officers risk their lives every time they put their uniform on to go serve our community. So we're thankful for their bravery and commitment to service. So I thank all of our OPD personnel. Okay, now it is Lori Botts Day in the city of Orlando. So after more than a quarter of a century, she's been here longer than I have. She's been here longer than Commissioner Sheehan has been here, right? Yeah. Okay, so she is retiring this month, and she serves as our real estate division manager, and she truly loves our city, and there's no question that she has played a key role in shaping Orlando into the vibrant community that it is today. And I'm going to ask our CFO, Michelle McCrimmon, to say a few words, and then I will read a retirement proclamation. Try it again, Michelle. PJ to the rescue.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. Complicated button there. I just know numbers, not buttons. It's my pleasure to honor Lori Botts. She retires from the city after over 26 years of dedicated service. Lori joined the city in October 1998. And let's go back to 1998. Disney's Animal Kingdom opened. Google was incorporated. Top movies back then were Titanic, Armageddon, Saving Private Ryan, and Something About Mary. The Clinton and Lewinsky scandal was top news. Theme park tickets were $44, $119 today. But back to Lori. Lori was born in Orlando and grew up in Lancaster Park. She has 3 sisters, and her mother was a travel agent, and she was blessed to be able to travel internationally when she was young, which is what gave her the love for travel. Lori was recently married. She has 2 sons. One is an Orlando firefighter and has 2 grandchildren. I mentioned Lori's a world traveler. Antarctica is on her bucket list, but in a few weeks, she's checking a few others off of her list, which is Australia and New Zealand. I asked Lori how she joined the city, and Lori was working as a broker and appraiser. She had just finished up her master's at UCF and was in the program with a few city employees. They saw the position advertised and suggested she apply for the position. And Lori's undergraduate and graduate degrees are in public administration, so it was a great fit, as Lori always knew she intended to work for government. A quick story about how Lori got into real estate. Her father briefly worked in real estate. He owned apartments in an area where the current Sentinel site is. But she got her own first taste when, a few years after graduating from UCF, she was involved with building the first sorority house at UCF. So surprise, surprise, young Lori was involved in negotiating a lease with the state of Florida. So each of you has in front of you a more detailed list by your district of the different projects, but I certainly wanted to highlight a few things that she's been involved with, and probably so many more that aren't even on that list. In District 1, the Southeast Government Center and the library lease, and the purchase of several parcels of land for future parks and fire stations. District 2, Park of the Americas, the UCF incubator space at Herndon lease, and the acquisition of land at Herndon, where today's EOC, OPD Property and Evidence, Records Warehouse, and Code Enforcement Building is. In District 3, she was involved with the expansion of Dartmouth Park, the acquisition of Lake Druid Park from the Navy, acquisition of land at Lock Haven from the federal government, and the acquisition of land at Packing District. In District 4, Lori was involved with the Constitution Green Park, Cherry Tree, and Kittinger Parks, as well as the Soto Police Substation and acquisition of the Plaza Live Theater. In District 5, she was involved with the acquisition and disposition of land for numerous affordable housing projects, such as Paramore Oaks, Blue Sky, Orange Center Boulevard. She was involved with the relocation of OPD headquarters and OFD Station 1, the disposition of land for Westcourt, and the acquisition of land for the Kia and Dr. Phillips Performing Arts Center, as well as the Creative Village redevelopment. And in District 6, Lori was involved in the acquisition of land for the President Barack Obama Parkway, the Metro West OPD substation, Grand Avenue Community Center, and the OPD satellite office on International Drive. And as I mentioned, so many other different projects over the years. So Lori, on behalf of your work family and the Office of Business and Financial Services, and all of us at the city, we're grateful for your 26 years of service and wish you the best in your retirement. And Mayor, I believe you've got a proclamation to
I
read.
have a retirement proclamation. Whereas, thanks to the dedication and professionalism of its employees, the City of Orlando provides critical services, programs, and amenities that residents, business, and visitors rely on each and every day. And whereas, for more than a quarter of a century, Lori Botts has significantly contributed to Orlando's growth and development by playing a leading role in many projects, including the Kia Center, Dr. Phillips Center for the Performing Arts, the historic Rogers Keeney Building, Inter and Co Stadium, Constitutional Green, and the Grove Park. And whereas she has been instrumental in advancing the City of Orlando's infrastructure and delivering of municipal services through managing the acquisition and relocation of 14 Orlando Fire Department stations, securing the land for the Orlando Police Department headquarters and numerous substations, acquiring the property for road projects such as Narcoossee Road and President Barack Obama Parkway, and obtaining locations for affordable housing developments throughout the city, including in Paramore, Mercy Drive, and West Lakes. And whereas Lori has demonstrated exceptional leadership and expertise at serving on the OPD Pension Board, Central Florida Expressway Authority Right-of-Way Committee as chair, and as an active member of the Commercial Real Estate Women of Orlando for 20 years. And whereas Lori is also an adjunct professor at UCF, where as a proud alum, she teaches appraisal and valuation to mentor students interested in pursuing careers in real estate, several of whom are now City of Orlando employees. And whereas Lori is retiring after 26 years of service, but the City of Orlando will always be grateful for her countless contributions to our community. Now, therefore, I, Buddy Dyer, Mayor of the City of Orlando, hereby do thank Lori Botts for serving our city and extend best wishes for good health and much happiness in the future. And what the heck, we'll just declare it Lori Botts Day in the City of Orlando. Say something or do the pictures first?
I really
Hold that and then say something.
I really just wanted to take truly just a moment to say thank you to each of you. Orlando is a wonderful place, and so many people don't really know all the hard work that you put in to do that. So it's truly been my honor. It's always been my goal to work at government, and I'm so proud to be a city employee, and I'm proud, and I hope you're happy for my husband Mark and I. And I'm very surprised today by the attendance of many friends who are friends of the city who have come out today, and they totally surprised me today. So thank you very much. It is truly, as you said, my honor to have worked here for so long. Thank you.
Well, let's go down there.
Stand behind us.
Come with you. Yeah, no, wait a second. Back here. Is that better for you, Jim? That's better. Whatever's left of me.
Okay, everybody that's here for Lori, come on. Roll your green tag.
Right on.
Good looking group. Okay, we're back over here. Come on.
Way to go.
Might as well punch myself. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Congratulations.
A District 3 resident. That's what I like. Another voter.
Okay, we have begun our couple of weeks of celebrating Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and his legacy. And I want to acknowledge the work of our commission that I mentioned the other day. We had our first event on Sunday, which was the short march from the, what do they call the center over there? Family Life Center to the church, which was 500 yards, but since my back's been bothering me, that was just as well. But they have worked along with staff tirelessly throughout the year to make sure that we can honor the dreams and aspirations of Dr. King. So if that was the first event, but there are many more to come. So if you'd like to participate, you can visit orlando.gov/MLK for upcoming events. And right now I'd like to call up Marcia for a few words, and then I'll read another proclamation.
Thanks, Mayor Dyer. Good afternoon, everyone.
Great to see everyone. And Lori, congratulations. I know she's gone, but it's been such a pleasure working with Lori for those 26 years, 25 years. Thank you, Ed. Thank you. Thank you so much, Ed. It is great to be here with all of you, and our team is excited to serve the residents of Orlando as you all do every day. Just a bit of history, I'll make it quick, but since 1986, beginning with Mayor Bill Frederick's administration, Orlando has recognized the federal holiday, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day, as an official holiday in the city of Orlando. And for 39 years now, through the administrations of Mayor Frederick, Mayor Glenda Hood, and now Mayor Dyer, Orlando's mayor has appointed a Mayor's MLK Commission, as Mayor Dyer just explained. And the people that are involved in this commission are dedicated residents who are civic citizen leaders in the public and private sectors. And they plan, lead, and implement a series of community engagement events that honor and model the legacy of Dr. King by educating each generation about Dr. King's nonviolent movement for human rights and civil rights. And this group amplifies the achievements of youth and adult servant leaders who exemplify Dr. King's vision by having their mission as a mission of service, equality, justice, peace, respect, and inclusion for all. Special thanks to Mayor Dyer, to you, and First Lady Susie Dyer yesterday, and Commissioner Rose, as well as Commissioner Stewart, for joining us for the kickoff yesterday, along with our police chief, Eric Smith. Thank you, and our fire chief, Charlie Salazar, thank you. It was a great event. We had over 100 residents, probably close to 200, who came out to be a part of the march, vigil, and interfaith service at Shiloh Baptist Church yesterday. And it was a short walk, as Mayor Dyer said, but it was a great walk. And we actually exemplified the legacy of Dr. King to be the beloved city, which is what he envisioned for Orlando and all cities. We hope you'll visit the city's website, as the mayor alluded to, mlkorlando.com, to see the calendar of events for the remainder of January. That includes the 10th annual MLK Gospel Concert at Steinmetz Hall in the Dr. Phillips Center on Saturday, January 26th. If you visit this site, orlando.gov/MLK Concert, you can get free tickets. We just ask that you bring a non-perishable food item, because we want to help to feed those in need in our community. And at this time, I would like to just quote one quote that Dr. King had, and then I'd like to introduce the members of the advisory committee that are here. And that quote is, "Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can." And we are very proud to be a compassionate and inclusive city here in Orlando. So it's now my pleasure to introduce the 2023 roster. And Mayor Dyer, I know you're going to present a proclamation. I'd like to ask the members of the advisory committee, the MLK Commission that are here, to please come up quickly. I know that we have a little bit of time, but we'll start in alphabetical order. Actually, let me start with the chair, because she probably puts in about 1,000 hours a year in support of the Mayor's MLK Commission. That's Brandy Hand. And Brandy, would you join us, please? Yes, she deserves applause. Brandy Hand. We also have Dr. Edwana Andrews, who's from UCF. Ms. Sarah, I never pronounce her name right, and Arangabel, thank you, from U.S. Hunger. Nisha Bryce from Florida Blue. Vicky Brooks is a member at large. We also have with us today, representing SeaWorld, Sarah. We also have Elizabeth Grace, Valencia College. Quib Graham, Orlando Health. We also have with us Corey Johnson, representing OUC, the reliable one, and sustainable. And we also have with us Scott Lindsay, representing Orange County Public Schools. Jean Martin, representing J.P. Morgan Chase and Company. Don Ofadal, representing ViStar Credit Union. Courtney Powell, representing ACE Applications. Cran Riley, representing Wayne Dench Charities. Amon Thomas, who's also representing JP Morgan Chase. Ilya Torres, representing Universal Orlando Resort. And Travis Waters, representing Disney World. Please join me in giving these folks a great hand of applause. Thank you. Thank you to all of you. Please stay in place. And then I have to acknowledge our staff that works diligently. As Mayor Dyer likes to say, we work on this all year long, but we started in essence in August, and it's been nonstop since then. And I'd like to introduce Reggie McGill in absence. He's ill today. He's not here. Bailey Clark, Lizette Feliciano, Felicia Korchevsky, and Sylvia Wills. Please join us up for the picture. Mayor Dyer. Thank you all. I thought it was I thought that was it right there. I'm sorry. Apologies.
You're right. That's Lori Botts.
Hey, we're standing up again.
MLK Holiday Week Proclamation. Whereas January 20th, 2025 is the 39th anniversary of the national holiday honoring the birth of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., one of America's most visionary leaders who peacefully led civil rights activism in our nation through nonviolent means. And whereas Dr. King devoted his life to the struggle for justice and equality for people of all races and ethnicities, leading to the establishment of many laws that prohibit discrimination and foster human rights. And whereas since 1986, the Orlando Mayor's Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Commission has worked diligently to foster Dr. King's legacy of service, equality, justice, peace, and inclusion for all. And whereas the Commission provides academic scholarships to high school students, beautifies parks, neighborhoods, schools, and promotes community events and programs honoring Dr. King's legacy. And whereas over the last 26 years, the Orlando Mayor's MLK Youth Humanitarian Award Program has recognized more than 1,000 outstanding students who are selected by their schools because they exemplify Dr. King's ideals. And whereas the City of Orlando celebrates and promotes Dr. King's incredible legacy, we thank our sponsors and encourage residents to participate in the 2025 Orlando MLK holiday activities and programs, sharing in our efforts to make Orlando a welcoming, inclusive, and equitable city for everyone. Now, therefore, we, Buddy Dyer, Mayor of the City of Orlando, and the entire Orlando City Council do hereby proclaim January 12th through the 20th, 2025, as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Holiday Week in the City of Orlando.
Look good. You look good. You guys have a great week. Good afternoon. How are you? Good to see you. Okay, thank you.
Mayor, I apologize. There's one other group that's here that we definitely want to acknowledge. Some of them are on the advisory committee, and some of them are not, and that is our sponsors. I had that on my talking points. Sponsors, if you are here, please let us acknowledge you. Just stand, please, and raise your hands. Thank you. I'm grateful for all of you. We had it on the slide, but thank you so much for being here.
Okay, I have a few more items in the mayor's update, and those are items on the agenda, a number of which are supporting our key priorities of creating and preserving affordable housing. So B24 is a request to approve the Selection Advisory Committee's recommendation of the New Rock Company's proposal to develop 140 affordable apartment units in the Callahan neighborhood using our Accelerate Orlando funds, and the proposed apartments would be reserved for residents at or below 80% of the area median income. 10% would be dedicated to permanent supportive housing. C14 is an extension of our pilot program that provides building permit fee rebates for certified affordable housing projects. Since the inception, we have issued rebates totaling $782,000 for 7 different developments. Lastly, we are supporting the preservation of affordable housing through providing $772,000 in CDB funds to the Housing and Neighborhood Development Services, or HANDS, to upgrade kitchens and 36 affordable apartment units. And we are supporting Rebuilding Together Tampa Bay to provide roof replacements for 15 different homeowners. So those are all great projects. And then I will mention that C2 is another important item. Lori probably acquired the land for this particular fire station, but Fire Station 18, Commissioner Gray, is set to be built in your district, and we will be approving the design for that. Okay, with that, we'll move to the consent agenda, which is a number of items that are acted upon through a single vote of council. We give each of our council members an opportunity to comment on items on the consent agenda and update you on important happenings from their districts. We rotate the order that we do that, and today Commissioner Burns is first up.
All right. Good afternoon again, Mayor, fellow council members, staff, as well as guests. Happy New Year. Actually, today, January 13th, marks 5 years of me being sworn in as the City Commissioner for District 6. And I can say it's truly been a pleasure serving along such dedicated public servants and working with so many of the great staff here at the city. Thank you for your guidance, support, and I look forward to many more years of service on this council. Also, I know Lori Botts has left, but I just want to say thank you to her for her dedicated service. I had the pleasure of meeting Lori about 21 years ago. I was a new CEO at the Healthcare Center for the Homeless, tasked with finding a replacement site for our tuberculosis shelter. And Lori took me by the hand, guided me through that process, and we found a location that still serves our vulnerable homeless individuals in our community to this day. So thank you for her dedication again and guidance. Also to Marcia Goodwin and the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Commission. Just want to say thank you for your hard work and dedication for making the upcoming MLK holiday week a success. We ended last year giving back to the community. I'm glad to report that with the support of the If You Foundation, we provided 2,700 kids toys at the Smith Center. With the support of Athletes Connection Foundation, we were able to serve over 1,700 families with toys, bikes, toiletries, hams, and turkeys. And with the support of Attorney Greg Francis of Osborne and Francis Law and the St. Mark AME Church, we provided toys and bicycles to over 500 families. So we ended the year truly giving back and serving those in need in our community. Just a few upcoming events. I'm looking forward to walking in the MLK parade with students from My Brother's Keeper this Saturday. Also, in an effort to continue to make myself and my team more accessible to our residents, we will continue our District 6 satellite office hours. They will continue to be on the 2nd and 4th Wednesday of the month, with the next one occurring February 12th, and they run from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. For more information or to schedule a meeting, please reach out to my office, 407-246-2006, or district6@orlando.gov. Mayor, on the agenda, I just wanted to highlight a few things. For A1, just want to say thank you to all of our citizens who are giving up their time and committed to serving on the various citizens advisory boards. Our city couldn't operate effectively without your contributions, so thank you again. Also, A4, the Paramore Wi-Fi planning. Strongly support the Paramore Wi-Fi planning initiative, and would like to see the information gathered from this through this process be utilized to address other areas in our other neighborhoods in the city that also have a lack of quality internet access. A5, the Whole Kids in the Bee Cause Project Honeybee Grant. supports the expansion of the city's beekeeping and educational initiatives, so I'm strongly in support of that. Also, as we talk about affordable housing, C9, I support the adoption of the Community Contribution Tax Credit Program resolution that will allow Habitat for Humanity of Orlando and Osceola County to secure investments into affordable housing from businesses in exchange for tax credits. Also support the CDBG funding for the Housing and Neighborhood Development Services of Central Florida to perform rehab services of 36 units located at the Governor Square apartment complex located in District 6. Also, I'd like to F3 supporting the CDBG agreement with Rebuilding Together Tampa Incorporated to provide funding for roof replacements. And I must say that Rebuilding Together Tampa has been a great partner of the city as well as District 6, providing much needed resources for some of our seniors and low income residents needing some housing repairs. And Mayor, that's all that I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Gray.
Thank you, Mayor. And I'll be quick, but while the rest of y'all went on vacation right after our last city council meeting, we kept working in District 1. So we had quite a few events, and I want to mention them because folks put a lot of effort in these, so I'll be quick, but I do want to mention them. In just a minute, Ed is going to roll a tape for us, I think, but on the 14th, we had our annual shopping day with the Nobilo Foundation. And the Nobilo Foundation is a couple that out in Lake Nona that formed an entity to help underprivileged children. And they do it in two ways. One, they form a group of adult volunteers who each week go into the Sally Ride Elementary School and read to the kids and help them increase their reading and their comprehension. And as a kind of a reward for those efforts, they take about 1,000 kids shopping at a Target store and give them $100 gift certificates. So here's some pictures that we took. It's a great time, and we even got Ed up at 5 in the morning to help take pictures. So Ed, thanks for coming, but thanks to the Nobilo Foundation. It's a great time, and the kids get a $100 gift card, and they can buy whatever they want as long as it's age appropriate. So there we go. Super. Yeah, there's an old guy in there. I'm in training for the Santa Claus thing. I'm coming up next. So anyway, thank you, Ed, for doing that. Let's see. Also on the 14th, we did the Wreaths Across America at Greenwood Cemetery, and it's a Commissioner Sheehan will probably mention something about it, but we lay wreaths to remember veterans and their families. It was a rainy day, but Commissioner Sheehan did a great job leading the event, the ceremony, and thank you for doing that. And Commissioner Rose was there also. But thanks to Stephanie and her team for setting that up for us. There was a few challenges with the weather, but we got through it. So thanks, Stephanie, for doing that. On the 18th, we went across the street and hosted some kids at the Winter Wonder Shop. All of us did, and thanks to the folks at the Performing Arts Center for hosting that. But we brought 30 kids from Odyssey Middle School that had a chance to see the circus, and that was quite a treat for them, so thanks. On the 20th of December, attended with the mayor of the OFD graduation and promotion ceremony. Point being there, we've got a lot of young, talented, energetic paramedics and firefighters coming onto our team, and it's exciting to see that. So, Chief, congratulations, and train them up and coach them up, and we'll put them on the streets helping our residents. Thank you. Coming up this Saturday from 9 to 1 at Lake Nona High School, there's a recycling event at Lake Nona High School, drop off electronics, other kind of textiles. So read it on the website, but just wanted to make sure anybody that wants to come down there, southeast part of town, Lake Nona High School this Saturday from 9 to 1. On the agenda real quick, I wanted to talk quickly about B17 and 18. There's nothing magical about that. That's our bond issue for the venues. And that's pretty much a standard issue. What I wanted to mention is, we just went through bowl season, And I just want to mention again, I don't think sometimes people realize the importance of hosting those bowl games. It's not just a football game. It is, and yes, we put a lot of people in the stadium. But the infamous Pop-Tarts Bowl, which was on, I think it was on New Year's Eve this year, had and I want to make sure I get it right, had a rating of 6.8 million viewers, which is the most they've had since 2008. And also the Citrus Cheez-Its Bowl right after that had 4.3 million. Well, why is that important? To me, it's important because not only is it the people in the crowd that are there, but these are all the folks that are watching on TV, and they're seeing Orlando, they're seeing Central Florida, the weather was good, and it's just a great way to kind of advertise from an economic development perspective what's going on in Orlando and Central Florida. So congrats to certainly our venue team, the folks at Florida Citrus Sports, and a lot of other folks that host that, and of course the sponsors. And if you haven't seen anybody jump out of a Pop-Tarts toaster, you're missing something. So you got to watch next year. Also on the agenda, I wanted to talk about B20. Again, nothing magical about that. That's an application to recover some dollars from Hurricane Milton cleanup. But as we're seeing in California right now, tragedy and calamities happen. At least with a hurricane, we kind of know it's coming. Our friends in California had no idea it was coming. But I just want to thank our staff for their efforts. There's no blueprint to how you clean up after a hurricane, but I think Corey and his team and others did a great job organizing that, in addition to doing their standard work as a solid waste professionals. So Corey, if you would tell your team thank you. We did a great job, and again, nothing's perfect, but I think when compared to some of the other municipalities in Central Florida, I think we held our own. So Corey, thanks to you and your team on that. And finally, Mayor mentioned it, but I do want to mention it again. Thanks to our folks for organizing. As we continue to grow in Southeast Orlando, we need more public safety. We're adding more police officers, and now we're building a new fire station along with a 10-acre park. So it continues to add to the amenity base for a growing community in Southeast. So we continue to grow. We're growing in Vista Lakes. We're growing in Sunbridge. We're growing on the west side of Lake Nona along Boggy Creek, south of the 417. So growth continues to happen in the city, and I appreciate everybody's efforts to accommodate that. So, Mayor, that's all I've got. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Ortiz.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to start by wishing everybody a Happy New Year. And it's kind of, or sort of bad news also. I lost a good friend. My deepest condolences to the family of Alex Tiampson. Alex Tiampson was a police officer with the Orlando Police Department, a Class A police officer. And later on, it's funny because we worked together in task force, and later on he also became a commissioner for Orange City. We just lost him on December 29th to a heart condition. So our condolences to the family, thoughts and prayers. I want to welcome, item D1, I want to welcome Rosa Escobar Ramos. She's going to be the new Youth Employment Coordinator for Englewood. So welcome to the team. Everybody get ready for the new legislative session, Tallahassee. So for those of you, I'm just going to read over the items that the Florida League of Cities will be pinpointing through the legislative session. Is affordable housing is number one, electric vehicles, enterprise funds transfers and extra territorial surcharges, property taxes, sovereign immunity, annexation impact fees, local business tax, One Water, and public safety recruitment and retention. Please get acquainted with this so you can call your legislators in Tallahassee and let them know what your wishes are in terms of these particular legislations that affect our local communities. It's very important for all of us to get involved because in many instances, legislators don't hear from us. They do what they do, and we don't know either what happens. So, and these legislations that take place in Tallahassee do affect our communities. So please get involved. We're going to be posting this in our social media, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call our office. We'll help you with any guidance that we can give. And I know Commissioner Stewart's really also involved with the Florida League of Cities. So our Government Academy starts on March 4th, which is this particular announcement about legislative session. Kind of is a preamble to conversation about the Government Academy. We pride ourselves in teaching government because, as you can see, our nation is in a little bit of a chaos when it comes to electing good candidates for representation at different levels in government. And we had issues at the federal government and at state governments that we need to take care of. And many of these things do happen because we don't know enough about government. And we need to make sure that we know, so we know how to navigate and how to elect the right people to represent us. It's not about partisanship, it's about the needs of the people. So let's get going with this. Commissioner Gray, we also had we took kids also to do some shopping. So that happened in December 3rd. Deity from Citrus Square took a group of kids, about 20, 25 kids, to, I think they didn't go to Target, they went to Walmart. So it was just as good. They had a lot of fun too. So, and on January 4th, we had the Three Kings event, which is a Latino celebration. Took place at Azalea Park Elementary. And you got to see the faces of these kids when they see these gifts. We celebrate Santa Claus here, right? Christmas, and the kids get wrapped gifts. With the Three Kings, the story's a little different. They don't get them wrapped; they get them unwrapped. So they get to see what's coming from afar. It's a lot of fun for them, and so they had a great time. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Stewart.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate it. I also want to say thanks to Lori Botts for her service. Like with Commissioner Burns, I got a chance to meet Lori Botts many years ago, and we first met on a baseball field when I umpired her son. And and became friends, and then realized that we have a lot of common interests, especially in the downtown area. So congratulations to her. Commissioner Gray, thank you for mentioning the Pop-Tarts Bowl. And I was stuck at home taking care of my wife over the holidays, so I got a chance to watch some of that stuff on TV. And I'm telling you, we had a wonderful reception on TV. If I were someplace else up north, especially with the snowstorm coming in, I would want to be down here when I saw those pictures. Even watching some Pop-Tart come out of a toaster. But we did get the award for having the neatest trophy presentation of the Pop-Tarts, which have a football toaster, which is kind of a neat thing. But I will tell you that we forget that this is a $10 million advertisement for the city of Orlando. And that continues to spur interest and want people to come down here, and we appreciate that. A couple of things let me just share. We have a new spot in College Park called Good Pour, if you get a chance. It's a package store, but something that's unique and different. There's 4 or 5 of them around the community. It's in downtown College Park. Get a chance to stop by. It's been anticipated for probably 7 or 8 months, and so we finally are moving forward on it. We're excited about that. I want to say congratulations to the College Park Diner. They opened up again after a fire that hit them a couple days before Christmas, and they opened up about 2 weeks later. I appreciate the work of our staff trying to get through that, so thank you very much for helping them move that very quickly. And they opened back up to a lot of fanfare this past weekend. Also want to say thanks to all those who are helping with the MLK events, especially the MLK parade. It's just not a simple task to be able to do that. We oftentimes get accustomed to that our staff is so good at what they do, so efficient at what they do. And there's a lot of energy that goes into there. A couple of upcoming events I want to share with you. Tomorrow we unveil the last of one of the historic markers in the College Park area, the Rosemere Historic Marker, over on Cornell Street tomorrow morning at 12:15. Tomorrow evening, Wednesday evening, we're doing our septic to sewer transfer meeting that we're having. We're a community meeting up in the Rosemont area for the area of, I'm trying to think of Signal, not Signal Hill, it's, help me out, Corey. I'll think of it. Anyway, interest, give me a call back. We have sent letters and contact to the neighborhood, and we're meeting up there tomorrow. And the Lunar New Year festivals begin starting this Saturday, and I'm so happy to be joining St. Philippe Van Catholic Church. On the agenda today, let me share a couple of things with you. The first is I need to file an abstention. I filed it with the clerk already on item C4, MLP, MPL, I'm sorry, 2024-10071. I have a conflict of interest on that particular one, as my son-in-law works for Pulte Homes. On the agenda, thank you, Commissioner Burns, for your comments about committee assignments. We often forget that our city is run essentially by volunteers, especially in those important committees, and we appreciate their dedication, and I'm so grateful for that. Mayor, thank you for mentioning B24, the affordable housing, 140 units now going along 441. That's going to be a great addition over there. And then, of course, the Rebuilding Tampa, the contract with Rebuilding Together Tampa Bay to do the roof repair. We've got several in our community over in the Rosemont area that have been anxiously anticipating us to start up that program again, and so I'm excited about that. And with that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner. We'll move to Commissioner Sheehan.
Thanks, Mayor, Commissioners. It is Martin Luther King Week, and diversity, equity, inclusion is what makes our community successful. There has been many, many things negative said about diversity, equity, inclusion, but I want to thank this council for being supportive of our community as a whole, and minority communities in particular, and we need to keep doing the right thing in this community and not listen to the nonsense and not listen to the divisive rhetoric, because it's important to honor everyone that does great work in our community. Climate change is real. We are thinking of the folks in California who are impacted by those horrible wildfires. I'm worried sick about my friend Jamie Lee Curtis and others who are impacted by this, and this just didn't impact, one community. It's impacting an entire area in Southern California, and it's why it's so important that we recognize that climate change is real. It's very frustrating when folks don't believe in this, and we're seeing it right in front of our eyes, and people are discounting this. But again, thank you to the heroic firefighters who are doing amazing work out there, and all the mutual aid that's happening, which, it's a terrible situation, but 100-mile-per-hour winds and fire do not mix well, and that's what's happening, and we need to realize that, but for the grace of God, there go we, because this climate change is impacting us as well. Also, our hearts with the folks in New Orleans with the vehicle attack, and we in the city need to be a lot more careful with our events. We've been holding the main streets accountable and making them put extra security in, but we allowed an event on Bumby. I was worried sick about it all weekend, and it was the same kind of barricades that were used that the terrorists went right through and hurt people. So we in transportation need to be more careful when we have these events, so we make sure that we are protecting the community, because these are the kinds of tragedies that happen if you're not safe and you don't take care of making sure that the community is safe. And I don't know why we hold the main streets at such a high level of accountability, but private promoters can do whatever they want. But I'm very, very concerned about this, and we need to apply the rules evenly to everyone, not just the main streets. We need to make sure that private promoters are following the rules and making it safe as well. I also want to congratulate Lori Botts on her retirement. Commissioner Stewart, I had Lake Druid Park before you did, and Lori came to me and she said, the folks don't want us to buy this because of the contamination. And the amount of money that it took us to clean up the contamination was a fraction of what that land is worth and how valuable that is to this community. And Lori always is that way. She was always looking to what was best for this community, what could make it a better place. And in my district, Constitution Green, adding to Lake Eola Park, she's just done such amazing work, and I can't thank her enough for all the things that she's done, because you know what? Parks are important to our community, and she's done so much to add these beautiful parks for everyone that lives on, that we had a goal to have a park within a 10-minute walk of everyone, and Lori's a large part of why that happened. So thank you, Lori, again, and congratulations on your retirement. On item A3, OUC, Roger Chapin is up to go back on the OUC board. You know, he's already on the OUC board, but my concern after dealing with OUC with sustainable energy and solar energy, I'm just concerned that there's no sustainable energy advocates or experts on the OUC board. So I'm asking my colleagues, next nominee should have expertise in renewable energy, because this is, again, important. Climate change is real, and if we don't take it seriously, we're going to continue to have these problems. And if we want to call ourselves a sustainable one, we have to support solar energy and alternative energy. It's just important. And I will continue to be an advocate for this. I believe in it, and it's so important for not just us, it's important for our children and grandchildren that we give them a world that is sustainable. And you know, it's not going to be burning up or blowing away or whatever. We need to make sure we're doing everything that we can to make it sustainable. Also on the agenda today, item C8, Orange Avenue Downtown South Neighborhood Improvement District. I love seeing these changes come through, which means that we're actually getting some things done on Orange. I know it took forever. We had an OUC project. Again, we need to work with our partners to make sure that they don't go over by years on construction that impacts small businesses. But we're finally getting those wrapped up, so I love seeing that. And again, that's all I had. I know we've got a couple of quasi-judicials coming up, and thank you, Mayor, for giving them a little bit extra time to talk about that, and that's all I had. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Rose.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to congratulate Lori. I'm not as fortunate as Commissioner Burns and Commissioner Stewart to have spent so many years, but I have had the privilege of spending over the last decade with her. And one of the things that she's been extremely instrumental is the buy back the block concept, and it's in different areas, from Constitutional Green to different parcels within Paramore, where we've looked at creating housing opportunities within our neighborhood. So congratulations. December was one to remember. We had a lot of holiday activities, and I just want to take some time to thank our sponsors and our partners. Orlando Magic for bringing out some of the kids from our kid zones and they give them you get a shopping list. The kids and some of the players go and pick out the toys for them. Turner Construction, they provided bikes for Angel Tree program at Majestic Life. Commissioner Burns, Commissioner Scott, myself, Athlete Connections, Joe Caesar, and Coy Slaughter for hosting us at the Grand Avenue Neighborhood Center. Mabel Butler Brotherhood, the Royal Palm Elks Lodge 439 for toy donations. I want to thank Kroger for providing turkeys to families in need. And I want to also give a big shout out to United Against Poverty. They assisted me with providing toys and meals to families within all of the neighborhood centers within District 5. And for those that don't know, we have 6 neighborhoods inside of District 5 that cover the entire community. I want to encourage everyone that's here in the audience today to take some time, find some time to spend with the kids in our community, your community, wherever you live. Whether you're going to an early learning center and you're reading to kids in the nursery, or you're going to some of our after-school programs, our kids need us. They need the outside support, and we don't realize the impacts that we make on lives. I've spent time over the last couple of months visiting some of our centers, and it brings me joy when the kids see me outside of the school setting and they can tell me exactly the moments that we spent with them. Over the holidays, I was able to provide jackets to some of our kids who did not have to prepare for this cold weather that was coming. We brought stuffed animals. I want to thank Florida Highway Patrol for that. The time we spend with them is monumental. They are our future. So that's one thing I just want to leave with everyone. It might be a little sad note, but I want to thank Florida Citrus Sports and our Orlando venue staff for their amazing work to put on the Pop-Tarts Bowl and the Cheez-It Bowl. For those that don't know, they're about 4 days apart. And what they do is immaculate with turning the streets, taking the banners down, and just the switching. So I just want to thank Craig, Alan Johnson and his team, as well as Steve Hogan of Florida Citrus Sports and his team. I want to congratulate OCPS, District 5 schools. They received an unexpected $250,000 scholarship to go towards some of the programming at 5 schools within District 5. I want to congratulate Jones High School football team. We did it last time, but what they accomplished was something that has not been done in 130 years of the school. They went 10-0 and undefeated during the regular season. So we promoted them and congratulated them and celebrated them by co-hosting a nice dinner and providing them proclamation at the Grand Bohemian. I've also received inquiries from the community. They will be getting a parade. It will be during Tiger Pride. I probably was blasted on social media about making sure these kids had a parade, and they will have a parade during Tiger Pride Day, which is Saturday, February 22nd at Jones High School. I want to publicly, although she left, Elizabeth Grace has been appointed the new CEO and president of the Central Florida Urban League, so I want to thank her, congratulate her for that. Health is wealth is a big saying that is imperative. I've started doing something called community fitness at Lake Lona Park every Tuesday and Thursday from 6 to 7. It is free for the entire community. I want to ensure that we are healthy. I know a lot of folks start off new year, new me with fitness goals, but this will go on throughout the year at Lake Lona. It's free, again, every Tuesday, Thursday, regardless of the weather. Even through the cold weather last week and the additional ones this week, they will be out there. There's an organization called Care Access that is offering free health screenings at the Kingdom Church, which is 800 North Pine Hills Road, today, tomorrow, and Wednesday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. They're providing cholesterol and other health screenings, and I want to encourage everyone to get out. It's free, guaranteed less than 20-minute wait time, and it's imperative that we take advantage of the resources and tools that are available to ensure that we can live to see tomorrow. There are a lot of great activities. There are a lot of great things happening here in District 5. I want to encourage everyone, if you are not, to take out your phones and go on Facebook and follow the Orlando District 5 page. On Instagram, it's the same, Orlando District 5. I cannot spend the entire time because we have a lot of other things to get to on the agenda to talk about the great things that we've been doing. But follow us, and if we have a weekly newsletter, if you'd like to sign up, email district5@orlando.gov. Onto the agenda, and it's only a few things. A4, this was a prime example of bridging the digital divide, and I want to thank Mike Hess and the sustainability team for this. I would say we saw the biggest impact in the Paramore community, and for those, A4 is the Paramore Wi-Fi planning, the planning that's taking place. We saw during COVID that our families did not have access to the internet, so this is the first step in planning and looking at how do we create opportunities for Wi-Fi throughout our communities. We have table connections, so for those that don't know, check out the table connections that we do have in our park. It is an opportunity to charge your phone as well as use the internet, but this is gonna be a great way. I wanna thank Mike for taking some time as we look at a couple of locations as we start the process, but looking at a couple of locations beforehand. This will be an access point. It will not be in each home, so it does kind of two things. It allows free access to Wi-Fi, but what it also does is get people back outside. So those are gonna be the two critical points in this process. I'm glad to see several Kia Center agreements on the agenda as we move forward with the renovations. As Commissioner Gray mentioned, it is imperative that we have beautiful buildings for not just the visitors for their experiences, but for those who watch the activities that we host. And the last one I have is C14. I am thankful for staff for finding a way to extend the building permit fee rebate. Most of the projects were in District 5, but it ensures that we have affordable housing within the community. And I move to approve the consent agenda.
Motion by Commissioner Rose, second by Commissioner Sheehan. All in favor indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, so the motion carries. All right, without objection, we will recess the City Council meeting and convene the Neighborhood Improvement District Board of Directors meeting. Let's see. Marty, oh, there you are.
Yep.
Marty Hudson, our City Economic Development Chief Urban Planner, will tell us about the one item we're approving.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. So the item we have for you today is we needed to do an amendment to a contract that we had for the landscaping on Orange Avenue. So from Gore southward, we've done all the landscaping as part of the master plan. Once we got into the project, we realized we needed to have some additional electronic signage out there, which increased the overall cost of the project by about just over $4,000. So we're just bringing that item to you for your review and approval.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Sheehan, second by Commissioner Stewart. All in favor indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Okay, Marty, thank you.
That'll be it. Thank you so much. We're getting close, Commissioner.
All right, then we'll adjourn the Neighborhood Improvement District meeting, and we will reconvene the city council meeting. We are on electing 2 mayors pro tem for 1-year terms running from January 2025 to December of 25. To have a nomination for Mayor Pro Tem 1.
Mayor, if I may?
Commissioner Sheehan.
Yeah, for Mayor, I would like to nominate for Mayor Pro Tem 1, Commissioner Burns.
Second.
Are there any other nominations? And we'll close nominations. All in favor indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Congratulations, Commissioner Burns. All right, do I have a
May I?
nomination for Mayor Pro Tem 2?
Yeah, for Mayor Pro Tem 2, Mayor, I'd like to nominate Commissioner Stewart.
Motion and a second. Are there any further nominations? And I'll close nominations. All in favor indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? And congratulations, Commissioner Stewart. So those are your Mayors Pro Tem 1 and 2. Okay, let's move to hearings, ordinances on second reading, number 1.
Ordinance number 2024-52, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, amending the city's growth management plan to designate certain land generally located north of State Road 528, south of Alafaya Trail, and west of Innovation Way, comprised of 3,327.70 acres of land, more or less, as public, recreational, and institutional, with the resource protection overlay, designating the property as public use with the Resource Protection Overlay District on the city's official zoning maps, providing for amendment of the city's official future land use and zoning maps, providing for severability, correction of scrivener's error, permit disclaimer, and an effective date.
Move to adopt.
Motion by Commissioner Gray, second by Commissioner Ortiz. I don't have any requests from the public to speak on this matter. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? And so the motion carries. Number 2.
Ordinance number 2024-55, an ordinance granting a petition of Orlando SED Partners LLC, establishing and naming the Orlando SED Community Development District pursuant to Chapter 190 Florida statutes, describing the external boundaries, the functions, and the powers of the district, designating 5 persons to serve as the initial members of the district's Board of Supervisors, providing a severability clause, and an effective date.
Motion by Commissioner Rose, second by Commissioner Stewart. I do have a request to speak on this item. Samuel Chambers, if you'll come up, state your name and address, you'll have 3 minutes.
Hello again, honorable members. My name is Samuel Chambers. I live at 3333 Pelham Road, Orlando, Florida, 32803. I'll reiterate, I am not necessarily against the Westcourt development, just the proposed CDD. By creating a CDD, which is a government district run by the property owners, in this case exclusively the developers and corporations who own the property, you will be abdicating government authority beholden to the voters and people of District 5 to government beholden to the corporations. But with our neoliberal politics, I've been told this is just standard operating procedure in the city. Why would we need a CDD? By and large, to help fund infrastructure projects on the proposed district, instead of the city paying for the infrastructure, residents who are rent and will not have a say, business owners will be assessed separately to pay for these projects. Normally, infrastructure is a public good that we all buy into to ensure basic quality of life to all residents. This was even a suggestion made by the consultants during testimony of the proposal. By creating a CDD, they would be on the hook for anything for any of these amenities and not the city. Is one of the wealthiest cities and the 3rd wealthiest state really unable to build new sewer lines, park space, and a parking garage? If so, we are in serious trouble. Or it could be that government bonds are not taxed as much as corporate bonds, thereby giving the developers and owners of the CDD huge tax breaks. More money for the corporations, less for the individual taxpayers. I'm not against the development, I'm not against the infrastructure, I'm against government for the corporations, and I am for government for the people. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. That's all the speakers we have. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Number 3, Madam Clerk.
Ordinance number 2024-56, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, amending the city's growth management plan, designating certain land generally located north of Lake Fairview, east of North Orange Blossom Trail, south of Lee Road, and west of Edgewater Drive, residential medium intensity in part, and conservation resource protection in part, designating the property as residential medium intensity with the Wekiva Overlay District in part, and conservation in part, with the Wekiva and Resource Protection Overlay Districts on the city's official zoning maps, providing for amendment of the city's official future land use and zoning maps, providing for severability, correction of scrivener's error, permit disclaimer, and an effective date.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Stewart, second by Commissioner Rose. I don't have any requests to speak on this matter. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Okay, let's move on to ordinances on first reading. Number 1.
Ordinance number 2025-1, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, amending the city's adopted growth management plan to change the future land use map designation for approximately 10.5 acres of land generally located between State Road 528, Beach Line Expressway, and Dowden Road, and west of Randall Park, from urban activity center to mixed-use corridor medium intensity on the city's official future land use maps, providing for severability, correction of scrivener's error, and an effective date.
Move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Gray, second by Commissioner Ortiz. I don't have any requests to speak. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, and so the motion carries. Number 2.
Ordinance number 2025-2, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, annexing to the corporate limits of the city certain land generally located south of Fairview Shores Drive, east of North Orange Blossom Trail, west of Edgewater Drive, and north of Lake Fairview, and comprised of 8.9 acres of land, more or less, providing for severability, correction of scrivener's errors, and an effective date.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Stewart, second by Commissioner Rose. I have no request to speak on this matter. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, and so the motion carries. Okay, that brings us to a couple of quasi-judicial hearings. The first is the recommended order from a hearing officer in case number QJ 2024-006 relating to the Historic Preservation Board's recommended approval of a major certificate of appropriateness to demolish the existing shed and construct a new 2-story garage with accessory dwelling unit above at 108 Kennison Drive, Orlando, within the Lake Lasana Historic District. The petitioner is Kimberly Rogers, and let's start with some background from Tim McClendon, the city's Planning Division Assistant Manager, and then we will hear from the petitioner respondents.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor. Tim McClendon on behalf of City Planning, presenting the background for the quasi-judicial appeal for 108 Kennison. The project is located on a single-family legal conforming lot. The address there, as you can see on the screen, 108 Kennison Drive. It's approximately 0.17 acres in size. It's in District 4, and as the mayor identified, it is in the Lake Lasana Historic District. The requested action before council this afternoon is to consider the demolition of a shed with it. It has a lean-to addition attached to it, and in its place construct a 2-car garage with an ADU on a second floor, an accessory dwelling unit. So as you can see on the zoning map, the subject property has an R2A zoning designation with traditional city, historic preservation overlay, and aircraft noise overlay as well. So the existing conditions of the site here on the left side of the screen, you can see the single-family residence, and on the right side of the screen is the proposed garage or shed to be demolished. It's approximately 12 feet by 8 feet in size, and the shed currently is not functioning as a garage, and that's due to the small floor floor print of the shed. Here's the proposed elevation of the structure. The Historic Preservation Board approved a 2-car garage with that ADU on the second floor. And in this instance, the second floor is utilizing, it's called the cathedral ceiling, and that actually brings the overall height of the structure down to 18 feet, where 30 is allowed by code. So this site plan here is zoomed in. Sorry, it's a little busy. But it's showing the existing shed and the proposed garage ADU superimposed over that shed. That's the crosshatch section. The 5-foot side setback is shown, outlined in red circles there on the north side of the screen. The HPB, the Historic Preservation Board, granted a rear setback reduction down to 5.9 feet in lieu of the required 15 feet. And that 5.9-foot setback is consistent with the placement of the existing shed. And it's also consistent with the historic pattern of development in the area. So the overall gross square footage of the structure is just over 1,000 square feet, 520 on the ground floor for the garage and 520 for the ADU above. It is important to note that the Historic Preservation Board originally deferred this application back in August and asked staff and the applicant to look at 1-story alternatives, and that was based on some feedback from the surrounding neighbors who thought the proposal for the 2-story structure was too tall and it was too close to the property lines. And again, just a note here, while it's not under the jurisdiction of the HPB, the ISR was the real limiting factor for determining the footprint of the proposed structure, not necessarily the setbacks or the height. The 1-story option that staff looked into, it exceeded the threshold allowed for a rear yard ISR. So staff worked with the applicant to make sure any proposal approved by HPB would meet all the sections of the Land Development Code. And in this instance, the proposed development is meeting the code. Again, so this case was deferred until the October HPB meeting. Staff recommended approval with certain conditions, and the HPB also unanimously recommended approval of the application with the conditions as mentioned by staff. So quasi-judicial appeal here, in this instance, why we're here, it was appealed by a neighbor located directly north of the subject property. Kim Rogers was the petitioner. So Chapter 2, Article 32 of the City Code allows individuals to appeal the recommendation, and they're entitled to a brand new hearing with an independent hearing officer. That QJ hearing was heard for over 2 days back in the beginning of December 9th and December 10th. So the hearing officer heard relevant testimony and evidence over those 2 days and concluded that petitioner failed to produce competent substantial evidence necessary to overturn the HPB approval, and they concluded that they did not meet the burden of proof. The hearing officer also noted and concluded that the petitioner had no valid arguments regarding sufficient notice. There were various notices that were issued and received by the petitioner. So the hearing officer's recommendation was based on the findings of facts and conclusions of law. The hearing officer recommended the petitioner's request to overturn the HPB recommendation be denied in its entirety, and recommended approval with the conditions of the application be approved and affirmed. So the requested action by the council here is 3 options to consider. The one is to adopt the recommended order. The second is to adopt the recommended order with changes, or third, direct staff to prepare a revised order. It's staff's recommendation to adopt the hearing official's recommended order denying the petitioner's petition in opposition in its entirety and approving the HPB recommendation of approval for case HPB 2024-10168. With that, staff is here to answer any questions. If there are technical historic preservation questions, our historic preservation officer is here. But with that, that'll conclude staff's presentation.
Okay, are there any questions for Tim, Commissioner Stewart?
I'm a little confused because we kind of go through this sometimes matter-of-factly. What is the staff's recommendation that was upheld by the hearing officer? Is it to do the two-story?
Correct.
Under what conditions?
There were several conditions listed in the staff report. Hold on.
But as part of this, y'all offered a one-story alternative.
We looked into the one-story alternative, and it
was-
wasn't viable.
and
It
the owner
didn't
did
meet
not
code.
want to do it.
It did not meet code.
Okay. So the two-story is actually what has been
Recommended for
which is what
approval.
the-
That's
what
correct.
The regional applicant wanted to do.
Any other questions of Tim before we go to the petitioner and the respondents? Okay, thank you, Tim. Our city code provides that consideration of a recommended order is a quasi-judicial matter and must be based on and limited to the testimony and evidence in the record that was made and considered by the hearing officer. To avoid the introduction of new testimony and evidence and to ensure the integrity of the quasi-judicial process, the city will not entertain comments from the public. Council will allow each party up to 10 minutes for an oral presentation. Historically, we have given 5. There has been a request that we go to 10, and because there are 2 respondents, each of them would get 5 minutes. So we're going to give 10 minutes to the petitioners and 10 minutes jointly to the respondents. There are others from the public that signed up. You can be heard at general appearance, which will be after this quasi-judicial hearing is over, but you can't be heard during the quasi-judicial hearing. So those are the rules. So the petitioner is Kimberly Rogers. Kimberly, you'll have 10 minutes.
Thank you. I'm Kim Rogers, an adversely affected neighbor situated next door to this proposed project. My objection to the construction of this 2-story ADU is the setback variance. The answers given to the questions you just asked, Mr. Stewart, weren't accurate. Most everything about this project, including what you just heard, is shockingly inaccurate. The misstatements can be easily checked by anyone. This recommended order is full of errors, and I'm asking you to please take the time to fact check it and correct it before this is adopted. At a high level, there are several ways that this project can exist without needing any variance whatsoever, and many permutations that only need a lesser variance. The Historic Preservation Officer and the City Attorney's Office are pushing this through despite knowing how flawed it is. The Historic Preservation Board told this applicant on August 7th to come back with the 1-story structure. That still, even now, hasn't happened, and this was only voted through on October 2nd because inaccurate information was presented to the board. The city provided you with the staff report, and I submitted another copy with orange highlighting over the provably false items in it. The 1994 ordinance that made my neighborhood historic refers to Chapter 65, where the powers of the Historic Preservation Board are defined at 65.134. Even though those powers don't reflect approving or granting variances, I'm told that your ordinance 2016-60 took the BZA setback power and gave it to Historic Preservation for convenience. But that power shift apparently cast off the rigorous standards in the code at 65.382 that the BZA rightly applied to granting variances. There doesn't seem to be any oversight left, and 2016-60 didn't refer to or amend the 1994 ordinance. 2016-60 should prevent disorderly and illogical development patterns, but they're happening. For no valid reason, this project still asks to sit only 5 feet from the rear property line when the 15-foot setback is the rule. It'll be 2 stories high, inside a utility easement, under power lines, and it's opposed by 4 abutting property owners who likely object even more strenuously after watching the Los Angeles fires jump from one densely built home onto another. The amended code at 62.706 requires finding or proof of a prevailing pattern of contributing development in the vicinity of the proposed work as a fundamental and sole basis for Historic to get to approve a setback variance. And here's the rub for this project. Those magic words have been misused. Apparently nobody's taken a hard look at the real prevailing pattern for years, if ever, until I started questioning it. For some reason, this project has skirted requirements as basic as starting with an accurate and up-to-date survey, which still hasn't been provided, to those as important as adhering to Florida's variance laws. Those laws preclude the use of precedent. This new structure is proposed on a legally conforming lot with no special circumstances. The 1994 ordinance should be used as a starting point for any kind of historic preservation analyses, but instead they use this orange circle slide that is strangely based off of 1956 insurance maps. This visual was presented by the historic preservation staff for this project. I added the red outline of my subdivision, also known as the vicinity, per code, and the black oval is the subject property. There are about 500 properties in the district, and only one orange circle is in with Lawsona Park. Here's a closer look. That circle is not an accessory structure, but was the primary home built in 1925. Today's primary home is the accessory structure, which supports building an ADU in front of the house next door to me, but not behind it. The single reference point for contributing developments, a characteristic unique just to this vicinity out of the several neighborhoods within the historic district. This is a visual map of all the neighbors who submitted opposition letters over the past few months for this project. This setback variance is highly contentious. This is page 15 of the staff report you have in your packets. Someone put 44 orange circles on this map and called them precedents to support approving the variance next door. As a realtor, I know this area really well, and this didn't look accurate to me. I hired a data analytics expert to determine the real prevailing pattern from scratch. He spent 70 hours on this report. The true prevailing pattern of contributing development conflicts with several new HP variances and is against the 62.706 code requirements. The most shocking part of the analysis is that 4 of the properties on this map that the historic staff uses all the time aren't even in the historic district. 1 property is a duplicate circle. 19 of these orange circle properties are on non-conforming lots where the granting of variances is likely to be more justified, and that matters a lot in Florida's land use laws. The project at 108 Kennison is on an interior lot, which differs from these 7 properties on corner lots, where the ADU has a separate entrance on a different street, which disperses density. Of the remaining orange circles, 5 that the historic preservation officer called accessory structures are actually the original houses. And of those 5, 3 of them are still the only houses on the property today. There aren't now and have never been any accessory structures at all. If we further filter out the 2-story houses that have similar scale and massing to the 2-story ADUs behind them and remove one of the remaining orange circles because it's a non-contributing structure, only 2 addresses comparable to 108 Kennison remain. This is not a prevailing pattern, and it'll be unethical for the historic staff to keep using this map. The 170 green circles now on the map are single-story accessory structures. This is the true prevailing pattern across the broader area, even when the vicinity standard is misapplied, and it supports only a single-story garage at 108 Kennison. An unbiased analysis dismantled this alleged pattern of the 44 orange circles. During the de novo hearing last month, the assistant city attorney extemporaneously added 12 purple circles to show a pattern of new approvals of allegedly similar construction. I'm clicking through quickly, but please go back and look at each of these. This one's non-contributing, this one's a non-conforming lot, this one's non-contributing, this one's 5 houses away from me and never built an ADU, and it timed out in 2020. Living space was only added to the front of the home. Since my time to speak is so limited, I'll leave you to look through each of these, and I'll jump to the conclusion that only one of these 12 new purple dots is similar to 108 Kennison. Number 11 was approved almost a year ago. No development's happening yet, and it's far from the vicinity of my neighborhood. This last one abuts 2 commercial parking lots. Only things that have actually been built can count as development. This is a survey map from the 1994 ordinance that should be the basis for establishing any real pattern of contributing development. The amended Chapter 62 code means that the public must rely on historic preservation for an accurate pattern analysis, but until this is fixed, we can't. Historic preservation has reached too far with these new approvals and is abusing their setback power. I came here to ask you to please push pause on this project.
It needs a complete reset. The facts need to be researched, restated, and accurate and transparent for fairness to everyone. Historic preservation needs to be better at managing important data, and I'd be happy to contribute my $5,000 report to help. A one-story structure does meet ISR requirements. I was forced to spend $2,000 on an architect to prove so in the de novo hearing. 108 Kennison is 100 years old. Why now, 33 years after I bought my own home, is there such a rush to build a whole new house over so much opposition from neighbors, many like me, who were already here in 1994 and voted yes to becoming historic? This isn't what we signed up for. My city should care as much as I do about accuracy, but instead has cost me thousands of dollars in experts to refute the historic preservation officer's inaccuracies, only for her to then state that she simply misspoke. If this many variances based on want are now being granted in the historic district, then the zoning rules should be changed. People should have a way to reasonably know that an Airbnb might be built 1.9 feet from their side property line, which is what's happening to me now. It makes me feel unsafe. Enforcing the current setback rules is fair to everyone and doesn't cause any hardship in this case. Please don't adopt this order. I'd like to tell you all of the ways that my due process has been violated, including this being scheduled for today against Article 32, Section 2.209, but I'm out of time. Thank you for listening.
Okay, any questions for Ms. Rogers? Thank you. The respondents, Timothy and Jennifer Codlar.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Kevlar. I'm not much of a public speaker, so I'm going to speak on behalf of my husband and myself. We bought the historic home at 108 Kennison 6 years ago. It had been used as a rental prior to that, so we wanted to restore it. I've always loved historic homes. I've dreamed all my life of living in that neighborhood. We would never do anything to destroy the history of that house or that neighborhood. We're asking you to allow us to move forward with this proposed improvement to our historic property. In no way do we want to alter, diminish, or disregard the unique historic nature of our neighborhood. We want to work within the existing framework of the City of Orlando building codes, as well as the oversight and guidance of the Historic Preservation Board. We have read and considered the objections of our neighbors and have done everything possible to address these concerns, including offering our reassurance that we do not now and do not plan in the future to park vehicles on the street. We will not be using the ADU as additional, we will only be using the ADU as additional living space for ourselves and our family. We will not be using the ADU as either a short-term or long-term rental. We have worked for almost 3 years with our architect to ensure that the garage and ADU mimic the original architecture of the existing home as closely as possible. We made changes to both the overall size of the structure and the building height in consideration of the concerns of our neighbors. We agreed to limit the location, number, and opacity of the windows, again in consideration of the concerns of neighboring homeowners. We believe our request to build a garage with an ADU is in keeping with the prevailing pattern of construction in the historic districts of Orlando, and we ask the City Council to allow us to move forward with our project so that we may continue to use and enjoy our property without further interference or limitations other than those set forth by the Historic Preservation Board and any applicable building codes and laws. Thank you.
Are there questions? Okay. Thoughts? Motion, anybody?
Mayor, if I may. I did.
Oh, Commissioner Sheehan.
Yeah. I know this has been contentious, you know, in the neighborhood, and I know that it's been contentious in terms of historic preservation and everything like that. But the bottom line is that the applicant did, you know, follow the rules. They did change the development at the request of the neighbors. I was concerned about the 5-foot setback years ago, and we talked about it, but that's the code now. So, you know, I think it's not fair to not allow them to, you know, to build according to what the code is. And I think there's some confusion about what is the role of historic preservation, and then the over prevailing codes and different things like that. I appreciate the neighbors being concerned, but this is, the applicant did make changes based on those concerns. So, and it did go through the entire process of a hearing officer. And if you read that, the hearing officer was very thorough in reviewing how this applied to the code. So I am going to make a motion to adopt the recommended order of the hearing officer.
Motion by Commissioner Sheehan.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Stewart. Okay, the motion is to adopt the recommended order of the hearing officer, which is to grant approval to the structure. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, so the motion carries. Okay, we have a second quasi-judicial hearing, which is the recommended order from a hearing officer in case number QJ 2024-005 relating to the Historic Preservation Board's recommended denial of a major certificate of appropriateness to replace 3 sets of upper balcony doors and 1 set of doors on the first floor of 611 East Concord Street within the Lake Eola Heights District. The petitioners are the owners and applicants, Mikhail Fagsberg and Holly Joffrian. Let's have some background from Tim.
Yes, sir. Thank you again, Mayor. Tim McClendon on behalf of City Planning. Presenting a quasi-judicial appeal for 611 East Concord. The site is also here located again at 611 East Concord. That's approximately 0.23 acres in size. It's in District 4 and located within Lake Eola Heights Historic District. This case was actually born out of code enforcement action. The specific request before the council this afternoon is a retroactive approval for 4 sets of double doors that were installed without certificate of appropriateness or without building permits. The 4 sets of doors include 3 sets of double doors on the second floor balcony, and then 1 set of double doors on the first floor for the main entry into the house. Seen in the zoning map, the property is designated R2B with traditional city overlay and historic preservation overlay. So this is the subject property in the summer of 2023. At that time, the front doors on the first floor had been replaced. The balcony doors had yet to be. And this property has been under code enforcement action since December of 2022. So here you can see how the house has changed over the years from 1980 all the way up to current date. The home is Florida vernacular with some colonial revival elements added that were added to it as the district guidelines were being revised back in 1991. But as I mentioned, no building permits or certificate of appropriateness were obtained prior to installing all the doors. The balcony doors on the left side of the screen here have I'm just going to call them 3 X's on the exterior going down each slab. The front door has an attached Greek key filament. It's a lion head. These doors are neoclassical in design and are not compatible with the existing architectural style of the building. And here we have a rough timeline of how we got to where we are today. The application started out as a minor retroactive approval request. Staff denied that minor request, so the applicant appealed it to the full board, the full HPB board. The HPB board approved with staff conditions and added additional consideration that if the doors could be altered to remove the non-compatible features, or those X's and the lion head, the slabs could remain, and there would be no need to fully remove all of the doors. So again, this was appealed. So Chapter 2, Article 32 gives individuals dissatisfied with the HPB recommendation. They can appeal, get a brand new hearing before an independent hearing officer. And that QJ hearing was conducted on December 5th of last year. The hearing officer heard relevant testimony and evidence and concluded the petitioner failed to produce competent substantial evidence to support the petitioner's objections. So just to sum that up, based on the findings, the facts, and conclusions of law, the hearing officer recommended the petitioner's request to overturn the HPB recommendation of approval be denied entirely, and recommend the HPB's approval with the conditions that the application be approved and affirmed. So again, council has three options to choose from: adopt the recommended order with changes, or direct staff to prepare a revised order. Staff's recommendation is simply to adopt the hearing officer's recommended order, denying the petitioner's petition in opposition, and approving the HPB recommended approval with the conditions for case HPB 2024-10228. And again, staff is here to answer any questions that you may have. And that'll conclude staff's presentation.
Okay, questions? And we will hear from the petitioners. Mikhail Vaisberg or Holly Joffrian? Tim, do you know whether they're here? Petitioners, are you here? Does not appear that they are here. It's unusual to go through this whole process and not show up for it. In that case, do we have a motion? Commissioner Sheehan?
Yeah, Mayor, I make a motion to deny the petitioner's request and uphold the hearing officer's recommendation.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Sheehan, second by Commissioner Burns. Discussion, Commissioner Rose?
Tim, did you not want it to be only staff's recommendation and not the hearing officer? Because the hearing officer had other recommendations. I want to make sure we get this over.
We were requesting that to adopt the hearing officer's recommendation.
Is that
you
the,
want the option, or you don't want the X's in the window? Did you want that, or you didn't?
That's part of the conditions that were in the staff report, that
Okay.
they could remove those X's and fix the non-compatible elements of the doors.
okay, yeah, and they didn't want to do that. And just, you know, I get kind of embarrassed sometimes, y'all, because I know we deal with really big issues other than windows and doors. But you know what? When they did these historic districts, these neighbors really wanted to have a certain feel. They follow the rules of the historic preservation, and it does help to create a beautiful sense of place. So I think it's important to enforce these rules and enforce them fairly. So that's why I'm supporting this today. And again, just to make it clear, I want to adopt the recommended order of the hearing officer.
Okay, further discussion. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? And so the motion carries. Okay, that concludes the agenda, the official business. Ed, could you get us in a position to do general appearances?